welcome. It's Delta here from DeltaIsGaming.com. This time with a different sort of video. How I go about making builds. So this time I have a sort build in mind called Fusion. I want to go through about a 4 to 5 stage process. This video specifically is what I do, brainstorm, come up with gear, skills, champion points, and a system of things I need to test, gear I need to get or accomplish before I can implement the build, start testing, and then teaching it to you guys in the stage of mastery. So here we go. I have a huge drawing board that I often use to brainstorm. Could be used for anything in life, but especially builds. So Fusion Sorc. We're going to start by the first basic thing. What is this build? What's its purpose? Why the name? So on and so forth. And then we're going to have a series of questions that I need answered, testable things, to-do list, skills, gear, and more. Let's get the thoughts going. Fusion. Time lapse. Are you ready? Show you what we got here and what I'm kind of going for. And a lot of the things that I have to test, it looks like this build process, you get more questions than you get answers. And that's part of it, is figuring out all the fun little things that might make this build better or worse depending on what we got. Let me take this off. Okay. So I work left to right here, Fusion. The idea behind this build, I really want something bursty. And you probably can't even read most of my writing. But anyways, what I'm going for here is something that basically can jump in a group in PvP, blow up, and then get out. So you're going to use magic detonation along with Dawnbreaker, the smiting Dawnbreaker. That's going to give you a lot of burst with low ultimate cost. So that's what I'm trying to go for. So that's powerful AoE burst. So the end goal here is determining what is most beneficial for my bar setup. So there's a couple ways to go about it. You got Inner Light for your crit, but you also have Bound Armor, which also increase your magic. So my first question really is it worth taking one over the other? Or is it worth having both double slotted for really, really high max magic? Now, another thing is, what does the most damage? Is it max magic or is it max spell power? Do you want to focus on that more so than one or the other? And that's going to take a lot of testing. So really, is it worth getting even up 2 more slots for Inner Light and Bound Armor? Would that make a big difference in damage? Because if it does, the build is going to be really lack versatility, but it'll have a lot of damage with max magic. So a couple other questions, and I have Mage Light here, Force Pulse, my one spammable range attack, Streak here for my CC, get away, get in, get out. Pulsar. I like that more for a magic Sorc to proc elemental damage, possibly disintegrate when they get low with a lightning staff. And then C-Frags is my ranged attack, though I can take C-Frags off if it's just designed to go in and get out. Maybe put Boundless Storm there. I'm going to have Overload as my ultimate on this bar. That way I can use a third bar for all my utility things. And then the same thing over here, toggled on magic detonation into proxy detonation. That's going to be the whole key of this build, is finding a way to make that powerful, make it empowered, in fact. And what I mean by empowered is some abilities in the mage's tree will empower your next ability to do 20% more damage. So I've been testing proxy detonation on other characters with entropy. and it doesn't seem to work. I don't know why it's not working. I'm trying to figure it out. I've heard some other people say volcanic rune is a way to do it. So we might slip in, instead of entropy, do volcanic rune right there, or even equilibrium. And the trick to using proxy det for ultimate burst is having it on the bar where your empowerment ability is. So you cast it, takes 8 seconds, right as it's about to go off, empower, kaboom, blows up. It's really hard to time, which is why you need immovability potions, which I'm going to get to that over here in a little bit. Immovability potions prevent me from getting CC'd, so when I pull out this tricky maneuver where I have to have a bunch of things up, a bunch of procs, I'm not getting stunned during the time. And so this is going to be the key. This is my empowerment ability. And you can get it very different ways. You can actually get it using a two-hander, which I might have to use a wrecking blow, even on a magic build. But one way or another, we're going to find a way to get proxy detonation 20% more damage. Now, power surge right there, that ability is simply for the healing that crits do, and also my spell damage. So you can get the crit bonus and the spell damage bonus both by using potions. However, if I do that, guess what? Now I don't have my immovability potions. Now I can be CC'd when I go in there. So it's just going to be a back and forth. As you can see, this process brings a lot more questions than it does answers. Then we got hardened ward. So I might not even use a resto staff for this ability. I might go dual wield two-hander and a staff, a lightning staff. My third ability, or my third bar with overload, is basically going to be mines, Daedric mines, rapid maneuvers for movement ability, and dark deal. You notice that I don't have Boundless Storm on here. And the reason I don't have Boundless Storms is, when I've tested it before, usually it will do damage, thus taking away your empower. So if you're trying to time something down to just the nanosecond, you have to make sure there's no damage over time effects going. Hence another reason we use Pulsar. See where I'm going with this? So I got the things I have to do. I don't have a Maelstrom lightning staff, which I need. I still am about 100k AP away from magic detonation, and I need to test dual wield Torg's pack swords with even just a craftable two-hander, because there's some math out there that says two-handers are even better. And maybe even a staff might be better now if I can get a Maelstrom resto staff, or even another destruction staff, either way. So some of the questions that are building up is, you can see my writing, it's mainly for me, how to empower Dawnbreaker. So the idea here, if I got down here, buff, streak in with my wards, and then cast Proxy Det. So Proxy Det takes 8 seconds to go off. So I'm going to streak into a group with about 2 seconds left, bar swap, empower my Proxy Det, and then do Dawnbreaker. Ideally, you want Proxy Detonation and Dawnbreaker to go off at the exact same time or within the second, and then a Pulsar. If you can do all three of those abilities within 1 second, that's almost more damage than anyone can heal through, and you might be able to just nuke a little small group down. That's the whole point of it. So I think I can pull it off, but we're going to have to maneuver a lot of these skills. So with that being said, we're going to have to figure out how Proxy Det works and how Dawnbreaker works. Does it focus off of spell penetration? Is spell penetration better in your champion points? Is more magic better than your champion points in your skill and gear? Or is it all about that spell power? Because right now I got a nice setup where I could use 2 Molagkina, 5 Julianos. So I would use Divines or Infused, depending on what is better. And I'd go 5, so head and shoulders, Julianos, and I'd do 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy for that extra 6% magic. That will add up too. And I am going to go stick with 5 light because it does have spell penetration and spell critical. Even though people can, mitigate some of these crits, some people can't, and I want it to blow up in their face. So here's some more testing. Destruction Staff, is that better than 2 swords? Is it better than a two-hander? We're going to run Willpower Jewelry with all spell power enchants. And what's the best Mundus Stone? Is it the Mage? Is it the Apprentice with Infused? So you see, testing phase, and what I don't show you guys is pretty much all my time spent during the week is testing this out. So for instance, I'll craft just a crappy set of gear that's all infused, and I'll craft a crappy set of Julianos, which is all divines. Then I'll go and hit something like get my Proxy Det up and go hit other players like my friends or my other account and see what it does. Then I'll switch the gear. Then I'll change the Mundus Stone from infused to divines and see what's the difference. What's the best Mundus Stone and why? All to get just a little bit more performance out of it. Just a little bit more. Okay, So, and then thaumaturge is obviously the #1 thing we want to pump up. But is there anything else that could help us do damage in the red and green tree? Obviously, it's for resources and defense, but we need to research it. Maybe proxy that, you know, hits harder if you spec into something just a little bit different, or more speed, or anything. All these little questions are going to be answered. But here's a drawing board. So as the days progress and the week goes on, start crossing off my to-do list, getting the things that I need done. So I'm gonna have to do some Maelstrom Arena to get the lightning staff. I'm gonna have to do PvP at night with my group, with my current build, and not even mess with the new build. Not even mess with it until the prerequisites are met. And then during off times when no one's around, I'll either level up an alt on my wife's account to go just beat on in Cyrodiil, and then just test to get every possible ounce of performance out of this guy. And then cross off a lot of questions. The problem is, the more questions you cross off, the more you probably have to answer. So that's part of the fun and to seeing how does the game work. It's kind of like science, whether you know you're testing physics and stars and blah blah blah. How does it work? Because the laws and the rules are there, we just don't know them all. So I'll probably get a lot of help from other sorcerers, some theory crafters, maybe Gil might help me out, and to create fusion, the ultimate group smiting machine. It's going to happen. It's going to take a little bit to get there, but I want to show you part 1. This is behind the scenes. This is what I do with the builds. So I hope you guys like this build, or you like this part. So to give you an instance, you know, what's next? Next is a testing phase. And after I get some of the stuff, I will start showing you how I test things and look at the data and put stuff down in paper and so forth. So you're going to see that next and see that it actually all comes together in a very different way. To give you an idea, sometimes these builds don't work out. I did this entire method for something I had called Frostbite. It was going to be using that Winterborn set that you get out of that Maelstrom Arena, only to find out that the Winterborn set doesn't hardly do any damage, and it wasn't effective at all, and the Conal was not enough to warrant using that over an Orioneth as a 5-piece. So sometimes you go through all of this, get to the final stage just to realize, you know, hey, it's not going to work. But that's part of the fun. And I think this thing is going to be a monster in PvP. Streaking in, proxy that, Dawnbreaker, and then getting out. It's going to be fun, gang. Thank you so much for watching. Can't wait to get part 2 out to you. Not done yet, gang, and why not make this process a little bit more interactive? In fact, we're here on my website, which I'm going to publish this before the video is uploaded, and have questions that you can answer the community if you know the answers. So I put the list of all the questions that I have currently, and we'll be updating this throughout the week as I acquire more and more stuff. But if you know the answer, why not put a comment on my website here, leave a comment. So for answer, should Inner Light be used over Bound Armor, or both? If you know the answer to that and why, you have a link, you have a picture or an explanation, put it here. I'll give you credit underneath here, and even give you credit in the video build credit situation. So if you know the answer, you want to help, you want to get a little pub on the little DG's website, go ahead and do it. I want to see what we can create, the fusion build to smite these groups. Thanks for watching. This is a test recording to see how loud I sound, what the light looks like, and if Dipper's going to be naughty. What do you think? What do you think? Here, come here. Oh, naughty. Stop being so naughty. Stop being so naughty during the test recording. I gotta record something. Alright.